What's up, guys, and welcome to another GPC week and another different kind of format for me to try out. Well, not format, but like recording style, because I have like literally no idea what I'm ever doing. But this week it's week 7, by the way, and we are going to be taking on Gareth and the Crawthorne Crabhammers. Now, we are 4-2, he is 3-3. He is still barely hanging on in the playoff hunt. So am I. If I lose this game, then I'm pretty much going to have to count myself out. And if I beat Gareth, then he is completely eliminated from playoffs. So I kind of like this. This is the style that Gareth does in his recordings, and I think it's neat. So yeah, I did make changes to my team. As you'll probably notice, my new squad is Manaphy, Megalop, Nidoqueen, P2, and Tangrowth with Thundurus T, Heracross, Meloetta, and Flareon. So, if you can't do your math right, I dropped Druddigon, Aromatisse, Aerodactyl, Rotom, what else did I drop? Goomy, and Ditto for Thundy T, Heracross, and Flareon. Flareon was a good meme, and I thought it could be maybe useful potentially. And Thundy T and Heracross are both really good, and they accent my team really, really well because Heracross plus Megalop is some pretty hot fighting spam, and Thundy T is just the best Volt Switcher and one of the better Volt Switchers in the draft format, in my opinion, because it's strong. So now my team is more spooky than ever before, which is fun because I like making my team spooky in the second to last or last transfer periods, because that's always fun. So his team is Latias, Crobat, Cobalion, Entei, Sylveon, Rotom, Megatitar, Poliwrath, Glaceon, and Ursaring. And actually, I watched his recording, and he failed to prepare for my updated team because I kind of forgot to update my team draft in the main draft page. I only did it on my personal page because I'm super busy and I forget to. No one ever remembers about the team draft thing, so he was not prepared for Thundy T, Hera, or Flareon, but I think the teams he brought were still well accommodated for them. So the 6 I expect him to bring are Latias, Crobat, Cobalion, Sylveon, Rotom, and either Megatitar or Entei. Entei's really good against my team, but it was likely that I'd bring a defensive Manaphy, which completely stops it 100% of the time. He could have potentially brought Poliwrath to completely shut down a Mono Scald Manaphy, which I did bring, spoilers. Other things, I didn't really think he'd bring Ursaring. Like, Swords Dance Guts set could just kind of break through my bulk, but it's so easily revenged by my team because it's slow and frail that I didn't really think he'd bring it. Glaceon I didn't think was that good because I have Porygon and Manaphy that just sit in front of it, and Meloetta can take a hit potentially. And yeah, I knew that Latias was just gonna be normal shenanigans because it's really good against my team. I don't really have much for it because I'm not bringing P2. Crobat is like the obligatory Megalopony check because it beats turn 1 Megalop lead, and it's just good against my team because it pivots on stuff and it can switch into a Nidoqueen if he predicts one of my stabs to come out. Cobalion's just really good against my team because I'm almost positive that he's bringing Choppleberry Cobalion so he can take a hit from my Megalop, and also it sets up on P2 and it can just kind of outspeed and beat a lot of my mons, so that was kind of spooky. I thought Sylveon was coming because it's his only switch into Megalop, so that was a thing, and also it can threaten my team if he's like Calm Mind or something, if he has a way to get rid of my Nidoqueen. So I definitely had to plan around that. Rotom was just a good thing, probably Scarfed, because it can outspeed stuff like Megalop and Manaphy, more importantly, and it also has that trick shenanigan, and also he doesn't really have much on his team that would fare better against my team. And it's just annoying. It's not a huge threat, but it's just annoying because it's a Rotom and Rotoms do annoying stuff. And lastly, Megatitar. I didn't really think he'd bring it. I was thinking either that or Entei, but because he did bring it, spoilers, and if he saw the team that I have now, which has 2 fighting types and a Nidoqueen and Thundy T, I don't think he'd bring it, but he did because he didn't know that I got 3 things that can all kill it. I guess Flareon could have packed Superpower. It would have packed Superpower if I brought it, which I didn't. But yeah. So I thought his team was pretty good, but I really like my team matchup in this because my team just threatens the hell out of his. Megalop just puts in a ton of work late, and I have things that can break all of his mons. So let's check out the team I brought. So I brought Heracross, Megalop, Tangrowth, Thundee, Nidoqueen, and Manaphy. And Nidoqueen is the only Pokemon that I brought to every single game, by the way, because Nidoqueen is amazing. First thing, I got my Strong Bug, which is my Hera, and I'm running Toxic Orb, Guts with Swords Dance, Facade, Close Combat, Mega Horn, 64 HP, 252 attack, Adamant, and 192 speed. So the speed on this thing is meant to outrun a Mega Tyranitar, which has enough speed to creep on something or other. I forget. I was speed creeping a speed creeps with this thing because that's always hot and spicy. And Heracross's main job on this team is to break Megalop's counters, because the same things that are going to try and stop Megalop are going to try to stop Heracross, being his Sylveon and his Crobat. And at +2, Heracross can one-shot both of those things. At +1, neither of them can switch into a Guts-boosted Facade. Crobat, of course, can outspeed me, but I think it might just die after Rocks, depending on his spread. And then Close Combat Mega Horn with a Guts boost are ridiculously powerful. I just want to shed some light on how strong Guts boosted +2 Heracross is, because I was doing some calcs and I think it gives you the Guts boost. It doesn't act as a +3. I'm pretty sure it gives you 1.5 times your attack and then it doubles it, or something like that. I ran some calcs, and this thing hits harder than if it was just +3 attack, which is weird, but whatever. But this thing can OHKO every single Pokemon on his team with Resist Berries if they're max physical defense at +2. Even the only thing that has a chance to live a hit is a max defense Chople Berry Cobalion taking on a Close Combat. Heracross hits his team stupid hard. It breaks the Sylveon, it breaks the Crobat, and he has absolutely no switch-ins to it. And it's just really nice because it checks everything on. It checks a ton of his team. I can take a hit from Cobalion and just absolutely rip it a new one with Close Combat. Even a Close Combat behind the Chople Berry is going to do a buttload. And yeah, this thing can't really switch onto that much, but if it gets a free switch in via a Volt Switch from Thundurus, or something like that, or a Double Down, then it's just going to claim a life because nothing switches in, because this thing is really goddamn powerful, and it accents my team really well because it has no switch-ins, which is cool. Next I got yours, my Megalop, and it is shiny this week, so shout out to Shoddy, I guess, also for the nickname, but normal Lop stuff, so Lopnite with Scrappy, oh, I forgot to change this. It would have just been Limber, but it didn't matter. So Fake Out Return, Power Up Punch, High Jump Kick with 28 in HP, 252 attack, and 228 speed, I think was my speed total. I accidentally clicked this button when I was fiddling around with things after the match, and I think it was this speed, which is going to let me outspeed Crobat, and more importantly, which he might not have expected, it's going to let me outrun a +1 speed Mega Tyranitar, which was something that I definitely wanted because a +1 T-Tar would be kind of spooky. So being able to outspeed that thing is hot. So yeah, this thing just does the work to his team if I can break things down. I'm positive that he's going to have Chople, Cobalion, and I'm pretty sure that a Fizdef, Crobat, and /or Sylveon are coming to try and stop this thing. So if I can get rid of those things, mainly through Heracross or other members of my team, I guess, then this thing is just going to put the dick in because... oops. Go away. Go away. Silly touchscreen. Anyways, yeah, this thing can just do a ton if I get rid of the checks, which is kind of what this team was built around, sort of, kind of. Because I just saw that dual fighting absolutely shat on this team. Next I got my pivot thingy, or well, a defensive part, because I'm bringing, whatever. I'm bringing Ouija, my Spadef Assault Vest Tangrowth. I wanted to change it to another name, but I forgot to do it, so we'll see a different name on Tangrowth next week if I decide to bring it. because I got some spicy nicknames for this thing, but Assault Vest, Regenerator, Knockoff, Poison Jab, Focus Blast, and Gig Drain with max HP, max speed def, Sassy. So this thing is my switch in to Latios, it's my switch in to Sylveon, it's a check to Mega T-Tar since I have Focus Blast, it's a check to Cobalion because I have Focus Blast, and part of the reason I ran Focus Blast over Earthquake is because of that Chople Berry. If I could Focus Blast the Cobalion and pop that Chople Berry, that would be absolutely ideal, because then Lopunny can just come in and kill it with a high jump kick without having to die from not killing it before. So yeah, that's all cool and stuff. This thing just switches into his team. Well, it's my only good switch into Latios, since I didn't bring Porygon because it was just setup city for his team. It was total setup fodder for both Mega T-Tar and Cobalion, which I really didn't like, so I decided not to bring it. And yeah, this thing's just nice to take hits against the majority of his team and stuff and things. Yeah. Next, I got Shoddy's Anal Beads, my Thundurus T, and I'm bringing a Choice Scarf Thundy T this week with Volt Switch, of course, Volt Absorb, with Volt Switch, Dark Pulse, Thunderbolt, and Focus Blast, 8 HP, 4 defense, 252 special attack, modest, and 244 speed, which is just enough to outrun a max speed Rotom Lamau. So yeah, this thing is really, really good against his team. He does not have an immunity to Volt Switch, so I can just Volt Switch around. It's a check to Crobat, which is really nice because neither of these things want to take Crobat on 1v1, since I'm positive he'll be Inner Focus, because that's a thing you do when you're faced up against a Mega Lopunny. I decided to go Dark Pulse and Focus Blast as my coverage moves. I could have gone with like HP Ice and Focus Blast, or Sludge Wave Focus Blast, or something like that, but first of all, Choice Scarf Sludge Wave, being choice locked into poison moves is really bad against his team, because his two predominant setup threats in Cobalion and Mega T-Tar really benefit if you are choice locked into a Sludge Wave. And I guess the same can be said for Dark Pulse, but I want Dark Pulse as an emergency thing so that I could kill off the Latios if it was being spooky and annoying. Most of the time I'll just be Volt Switching because this thing is strong and it gets my initiatives and stuff. Modest Thundy T is a cool meme, and look at that special attack stat. That's amazing. Yeah, this thing's strong. And Focus Blast, another thing, so that I make sure I don't get swept by a Dragon Dance T-Tar, hopefully, as long as I don't miss. And it's another thing that can pop Chople Berry on Koba and stuff. And I just thought that fighting was better coverage for his team over poison, especially since the only thing I'd be hitting the Sylveon hard and the Rotom, but I have Nidoqueen and Tangrowth, which both take those things on pretty well, so I thought that was fine. And yeah, Choice Scarf Sludge Wave is really bad against his team since setup opportunities everywhere. Next thing I got my Pointy Doggo, and this 13 minutes I should get to the battle already. But Life Orb Cheer Force thing with Sludge Wave 3 attacks, I'm just going Dual Stab and Ice Beam because it's good against his team. Just running like 232 HP, max special attack, modest, and 24 in speed. Speed was just to avoid potential speed creeps on things, because I don't mess around with that. And yeah, it's strong. He has no good switch-ins unless he has like Spadef, Yachi, Latios, which can take a thing, but then it's not a threat to my team, which is cool, I guess. Yeah, this thing just does a lot of work. It gets up my rocks because I like having rocks, especially with the amount of switches I can force with this kind of power on my team. That's neat. And yeah, that's basically my offense. I've got 3 Wall Breakers and a Mega Lop, which is always solid. And I guess Thundy can also be considered a revenge killer and thing. But lastly, I got my miniature Azul, which is another shout out Shady for memeing his names and stuff because I'm bored with life. But just kidding, I'm not goth. It's the Combine thingy because I had these 5, and then I was just kind of thinking about what would I need to help patch up the rest of my team, and I noticed I had 0 Entei switch-ins, and Entei would be a huge threat since my team is offensive this week, and the only thing that I only have 2 things that can outspeed it, and neither of which can OHKO it, so I want a thing that could reliably take on Entei. So Calm Mind, Manaphy fit the bill really well. This thing also just serves as a good win condition alongside Lopunny, and Well, Hera's not a win condition. It's just a wall breaker. But yeah, thing is good. Gives me a switch into things I did not previously have switch-ins for, like even Glaceon and Entei and Mega T-Tar a little bit, even though Tangrowth can take the thing, and what else? Like Special Poliwrath, I guess, and Cobalion and Crobat. Yeah, this thing was also a secondary check to Koba because SD Koba could be spooky since it's going to have Chople Berry, and I was preparing for a Chople Berry Cobalion with setup shenanigans. So that's the team. Let's get to the battle. Jesus Christ. Okay, so those are the 6 he brought: Crobat, Mega T-Tar, Latias, Glaceon, which was a surprise, Rotom, and Cobalion. The only thing that I was surprised not to see was Sylveon, because it set up on, or it stopped my biggest threat in Lopunny and Heracross if I was choiced or something. But he had his reasoning for not bringing it was because it was set up fodder for Manaphy, and it was just fodder for Nidoqueen, both of which he really didn't want to allow free switch-ins to. And Glaceon's actually really threatening to my team, which is a cool meme, I guess. So let's just turn this to normal. I'm gonna lead off with Thundy because he has nothing that I can switch into anything on his team, and more likely than not, he's gonna lead with Crobat to make sure I don't get free shenanigans turn 1 with my Lopunny, because that's what people do. Cough, shady cough. So yeah, lead with the thing. It cut off the S from his name, but I get that lead matchup right, as I can just Volt Switch out as he's gonna go into his Rotom. As I Volt Switch, it doesn't do anything because it's a not very effective Volt Switch, and even though it's still a Modest Thundurus, that took it really well, and I didn't bother calcing it, but I thought it was bulky. But I'm gonna go into my Nidoqueen because fairly safe. Let's just turn this to slow, actually. This thing's super safe against this. Even if I get tricked, which I didn't really expect he'd stay in and trick me, I just want to get my rocks up because rocks are really nice against his team to break down that Glaceon and the T-Tar and the Crobat, because yeah. So he's actually going to stay in and trick, which is spooky because now I have a Choice Scarf Nidoqueen, which is less than ideal because I'm also really slow. I can get my rocks up though, which is still fine because I can pressure his Crobat to the point where hopefully he won't be able to defog, unless he just doubled right out into Crobat right here to defog. But he's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, predicting some sort of switch, which is a fair play. I guess he was predicting the Thundurus. If he was being more aggressive and thinking I wasn't going to go to Thundurus, I probably would have gone to he would have gone for the Volt Switch, but this works for me because now I'm just going to double right back out into Nidoqueen, because either he's going to trick and get rid of my Assault Vest, I thought, or he's just going to go for the Volt Switch. There's no reason going for the Leaf Storm unless he has Predicting Pants on, and he's going to go for the Volt Switch, and I'm going to block that. So this is kind of a 50-50 because I can, or like a 30-30-30, I guess, since I can go for Ice Beam, I can go for Earth Power, I can go for Sludge Wave. I knew right away that locking myself into Sludge Wave was a really bad idea because he has a T-Tar, which I'm pretty sure is going to set up, and he has a Cobalion, which I know is going to set up, and I did not want to allow either of those things free setup opportunities. I figured that Earth Power wasn't going to be ideal because, one, it's not very likely that he goes into Cobalion unless he had like an air balloon, and I don't think it's his win condition, pretty obvious that it is versus my team, so I really didn't think that he'd want to go into Cobalion and risk that thing getting damaged. And I just thought that Ice Beam was going to be my best play overall because I could hit everything on his team somewhat hard, or with a Cobalion I can get some chip damage and put it closer to range of High Jump Kick from Lopunny, even behind a Chople Berry. So that's a lot of talking. I'm going to Ice Beam, and he is going to go into his Crobat, so that is Christmas. I got the play right, as I'm going to get a ton of damage off on this thing, as he actually lives, which shows Crobat's pretty bulky, so had I had my Life Orb, that would not have been the case, but things would have been different anyways. So here, I do not want my Nidoqueen to take damage because it's a nice check to Cobalion and potentially T-Tar, as he's just going to go for the Brave Bird. I thought he might go for like a Defog or a Roost or something like that, so going into Thundurus allowed me to just get a free kill or get me into a scenario where I either get a kill or I get momentum, both of which are fine with me. But he goes for Brave Bird, so now there's no way that he preserves this thing, because it's unlikely that he has Defog Latios, especially since he'd want multiple coverage moves for my team. Since I have a Manaphy, and you don't want to have like just Draco Meteor to hit a Manaphy, because then it's set up fodder right away. So yeah, I click Volt Switch and he just lets this thing die. So there is one check to Lopunny gone, which is really hot, as this is way too slow. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna go into Lopunny now because I have the free drop into Lop as he goes into Rotom, which I don't know why, but he's going to go directly out into Cobalion. I thought about just going directly for a high jump kick in case this sort of thing happened, but Fake Out was just an easy play because I do have switch-ins to this thing. So I'm going to go into Manaphy because really easy switch into Cobalion unless he's like choice banded, which is a manly thing to do, which wouldn't make any sense. But that does absolutely nothing. There's no way he stays in, and I'm just going to set up a Calm Mind so that I can take on the likely switch in being this Latias. And now that his Rotom is not choiced, he can't mess me up with tricking a Scarf. So he's going to go for the Energy Ball, and suppose I'm going to make these next couple plays are going to be weird. And I'll tell you why. So I'm going to set up the Rain Dance because that's what Manaphy does. And now here, I was really paranoid that he was going to go out into his Tyranitar on my predicted rest and basically force my Manaphy to be asleep with and be completely fodder for the next 2 turns. So going off of this really, I wouldn't say it's super rational, but kind of silly assumption, I'm not going to rest, as I'm just going to go for the Scald, as that's a really dumb play because now I am in range of a Draco Meteor, and there's literally nothing that I can heal up against, nothing on his team, because it's likely that I knew that Glaceon could just pack a Hidden Power and kill me. I cannot get 2 free turns against anything on his team, so I'm forced to stay in and just go for the rest here. There was no point saving Manaphy unless I just wanted the differential, but as long as I can win, that's fine. So a very poor play, but it's going to get rewarded as he misses the Draco, and I feel so bad for Gareth because I watched his narration, he was just really down about this, so I'm going to get back up to full, and now I'm in a good spot as I'm just going to Calm Mind, I think, or go for a Skull. Yeah, Calm Mind again because that's what Manaphy does, and this following exchange is just going to be him trying to crit or Spadef drop me with Energy Ball as I Scald and Calm Mind and Rest and Rain Dance and stuff, until this Latias will die, pretty much. So he has Recover, which makes sense because that way he could take this thing on. I guess if he was Calm Mind, then he would have been better equipped to take on Manaphy, but oh well. As he is failing to crit me, and I just set up the Rain Dance, and now I'm going to be able to rest again, as he needs a crit, and he's continually not getting it. He does get a Spadef drop, which is not great, but you know what, he can get all the hacks he wants against my Manaphy. If he crits me with that thing and kills me, that's completely justified because my Manaphy should be dead. But I can fire off Scalds and not burn him, which I guess is a tiny little bit of justice, but it's going to drop a Draco, hoping for the crit, and it's going to fail to kill me as I'm just going to kill him off finally with the Scald. So that's a thing for Manaphy. I can't really do much with Manaphy at this point because Rotom's here, Rotom outspeeds me, and Life Orb, Leaf Storms will kill me, and we don't fuck with that because I can save Manaphy for Death Fodder or to Scald a Cobalion if I get a free drop into it or something like that. And I do have a really easy switch into Tangrowth. I guess I could have gone in Nidoqueen, but I didn't want to take a Life Orb Leaf Storm because that would have done a ton. As he is going to make the good play of Volt Switching, as now I can go into his Glaceon, and I don't have a switch into Glaceon, which is neat, but the good thing is I do have like a million things which can kill a Glaceon, so it's hard to switch into, but it can't switch into anything. And he shows Life Orb, so Life Orb plus Stealth Rock damage means this thing has no longevity whatsoever, as I know I can't live an Ice Beam, and it's more likely, I definitely expect him to have a hidden power of some sort, so I'm just going to sack off Manaphy to get a little damage with Scald. As he goes for the hidden power, it turns out it was electric from watching his thing, but now I can just go into Megalop and start doing stuff. So I'm just gonna go for the power punch. He had protect because he wanted me to click high jump kick, but there's literally no reason to click high jump kick unless I was predicting the Cobalion switch, but that would have been insanely ballsy for him to, and really no reason for him to go into Koba, because there's no point saving a Glaceon that was on 24% since it died to rocks and stuff and things. So yeah, I can power punch, force this thing in, and just basically show that he is Choppleberry. That, I mean, there's like no reason he wouldn't be, as I'm going to go into Thunderous, as he wasn't going to click Stone Edge there, and it turns out he didn't even have it. As Close Combat does way more than I thought, which is surprising. Fizz Def Manaphy took a neutral Close Combat better than a Thunderous with a resist took it, but whatever. Anyways, I can click Volt Switch here. If he leaves it in, he loses to Megalop, and if he switches out, then Megalop just gets a kill. So at this point, Megalop goes ham on his team, because now I can just go back into it. I can click return and kill this thing off. There's really no reason that he's going to switch into Cobalion and risk me high jump kicking him, and that would instantly lose in the game unless I missed. So he goes back into the thing. I've got a safe switch into Tangrowth because I can take a +2 close combat pretty safely, as he does go for the Swords Dance, and he shows Magnet Rise, which is another I wasn't thinking he'd have Magnet Rise, but another good reason why you wouldn't pack Earthquake to hit a Cobalion. So that's something. Sorry, I was interrupted, so my train of thought is absolutely gone. But something like don't run Earthquakes for coverage to hit Cobalions because they can run Magnet Rise, probably. I don't know. Yeah, I go for the Focus Blast, as he did not expect that. He expected me to be Earthquake to hit this guy, so that works absolutely perfectly as I pop his Choppleberry. So now I just win with Megalop as long as I don't miss a high jump kick. So I can just fodder off my Tangrowth and try to kill this thing with a Focus Blast, as he's going to Iron Head, going for the flinch and stuff. As I'm going to miss my Focus Blast, which is totally fine because he missed a Draco thing. And I'm saving my landing hits for these next two high jump kicks that I need to go for. I'm just going to go for the fake out, and it was actually smart of him to not go for close combat, because if he went for that, then fake out plus power up punch would have killed this thing, and then I could have just killed T-Tar with a +1 power up punch, I'm fairly certain of. So that was all smart things. And ran some calcs off that damage. I don't think that it would take a really high roll on a 0 HP Cobalion to kill with power up punch, and I was pretty sure he'd have some speed or some HP, because he doesn't need max speed, he just needs to outrun Thunderous. So I was pretty sure the power up punch wouldn't kill, so I just went for the high jump kick, which I don't like risking, but I do it anyways because Drain Punch is stupid, and I'm just going to land because only bad people miss high jump kicks. And I'm just going to land another one as he goes into T-Tar, and yeah, that was just game. I guess he went for a sub, but had I missed, I would have just gone for the power up punch and broke the sub, made sure, because if he set up a Dragon Dance, then I would kill him with I'm pretty sure I'd just kill him with a +1 power up punch, and if not, I'd revenge with Thundy T. So yeah, that's a game. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry about the hacks. It mattered for differential and how the game played out, but I'm still positive. I'm fairly sure that I could win the game anyways, because I had an answer to everything, and he still had absolutely nothing for Heracross, which I didn't even have to bring out, and his team was still terribly weak to Lopunny at that point, so I'm pretty sure I would have won regardless, but you never know. I still like my matchup, especially since he wasn't able to prep for Thunderous or Heracross coming. Anyways, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week, as we are going to be taking on Robin, who is the second place team and who we need to beat in order to get ourselves in a playoff position. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.